Picture this, it's the 18th century. Two armies face off on a battlefield, armed with muskets, cannons, and their courage. The air is thick with tension as soldiers, their faces smeared with dirt and sweat, stare down their enemies. This was warfare at its most personal, a face-to-face contest of strength, strategy, and willpower. As the centuries rolled on, warfare evolved. The human element, once front and center, began to recede. Advances in technology brought about sophisticated weaponry, transforming battles into large-scale orchestrations of destruction. The advent of air power further distanced combatants, as pilots rained destruction from the skies, often unable to see the whites of their enemies' eyes. Then came the nuclear age, an era marked by a chilling detachment, where the push of a button could annihilate cities, without a soldier ever setting foot on the battlefield. Fast forward to today, warfare has entered a new era, the era of robotics. Enter the world of military robots, a game-changer in modern warfare. In the dusty landscapes of Iraq and Afghanistan, a new type of soldier has emerged, one made of steel and silicon. These are not your typical combatants. They are robots, unmanned systems that are changing the face of conflict. The surge in the use of these mechanized warriors is staggering. Once considered the stuff of science fiction, robots have become a vital tool in modern warfare. They scout dangerous areas, defuse bombs, and even engage enemies, all while their human operators remain at a safe distance. But this is not an overnight revolution. The concept of unmanned weapons and vehicles has a long history, stretching back to the tumultuous days of World War I. Back then, they were simple, rudimentary devices, a far cry from the sophisticated machines we see today. The Cold War era saw a lukewarm interest in robotics. The Vietnam War, however, cast a shadow on unmanned systems, with public perception veering towards the negative. Despite this, spending on unmanned planes saw an increase in the late 70s, yet the road to robotic dominance was not without its speed bumps. Policy decisions and technical challenges proved to be significant obstacles. Ground systems, which were mostly tele-operated, were vulnerable to enemy interference. The development of autonomous ground vehicles faced its own set of problems, including image issues and a lack of support from military leaders. Despite these challenges, the future of warfare seems to be heading towards a robotic horizon. But what does this robotics revolution mean for warfare, politics, and ethics? Let's dive into this. The increasing use of robotics in warfare could dramatically alter the nature of conflicts. With autonomous machines taking the front line, the risk to human soldiers could be significantly lessened. Imagine a battlefield where the majority of ground forces are unmanned, where our soldiers are far from the direct line of fire. It paints a picture of a future where human casualties in war could be drastically reduced. But this shift comes with its own set of ethical questions. If a robot makes a mistake on the battlefield, who is to blame? The programmer, the commanding officer, the manufacturer? As we tread into this new territory, we must confront these dilemmas head-on. Not to mention, the ripple effects of this robotics revolution don't stop at the battlefield. As the demand for advanced robotics escalates, so too does the potential for a seismic shift in the business landscape. Companies who can capitalize on this demand may find themselves at the forefront of a lucrative new industry. Conversely, those who fail to adapt could be left in the dust. And let's not forget about the political implications. As nations amass armies of robots, the balance of power could shift dramatically. Countries that have traditionally held military dominance may find themselves challenged by nations who can effectively harness the power of robotics. The rules of engagement, international law, even the very concept of warfare could all be upended. The impact of this shift towards robotic warfare is far-reaching, and we are still grappling with its implications. The future of warfare, politics, and ethics is being written right now in the code of these autonomous machines. As we stand on the brink of this new era, we must not only brace for the changes to come, but also ensure we guide these changes in a direction that serves humanity, not undermines it. So, where does this leave us in the face of this seemingly inevitable robotic takeover of warfare? The future is clear, and it's one where autonomous warfare is set to dominate the battlefield. Imagine a world where war zones are no longer filled with soldiers, but instead robots and drones, operating with precision and efficiency. A battlefield where human life is protected by replacing boots on the ground with wheels and wings in the air. Yet this shift, brings with it a multitude of questions that need to be addressed. How do we regulate this new era of warfare? How do we ensure that these robots are used ethically and responsibly? We need to establish new laws and regulations that will govern this automated battlefield. These laws should focus on accountability, ensuring that even though the boots on the ground may be robotic, the responsibility for their actions remains firmly in human hands. Moreover, we must also consider the implications of this shift on global politics and power dynamics. Will this new technology widen the gap between the technologically advanced nations and those still struggling to keep up? Will the future of warfare be determined not by the courage and strategy of soldiers, but by the sophistication of a country's robotics? The future of warfare is no doubt exciting, but it's also fraught with challenges that we must prepare for. The battlefield of the future may be dominated by robots, but the decisions and consequences will still lie with us, the humans. Now, it's time to ask ourselves, is this change really for the better? As we delve into the realm of robotic warfare, we're not just talking about advancements in technology, we're addressing larger questions about ethics, politics, and the very nature of conflict. This shift towards autonomous weapons isn't just a military strategy, it's a societal decision with profound implications. Imagine a world where wars are fought by machines, not humans. It might sound like a safer, more efficient future. But let's not forget, these robots are not infallible. They're created by us, and they're only as ethical, as responsible, as the hands that shape them. The potential for misuse is real and cannot be overlooked. So let's ponder this. Is the rise of robots in warfare a step forward or a leap into an abyss of unforeseen consequences? As we stand on the brink of this new era, we must ask ourselves, is it the technology that needs to change, or is it us, the humanity?